Yeah, I agree there for sure. Well, we're going to jump in to the first features overview here, or at least the second one, and see what they're cooking and how this is looking. There's some really cool stuff. I love the progression system. We'll definitely pause as we go through this. Probably need to fix that. Dude, this bear looks so cool. Like riding a bear and just rocking people. I mean, this is where it definitely gives me some Dynasty Warrior vibes. Is these kind of elements here? Definitely makes me feel back to that. And you just have like an army. You just get to just go through and do some good damage. I like. Where is this mech coming from? This is crazy, just crazy. Like I'm really interested to see how they're tying this lore in with these mechs. It's gonna be a very unique way to play this. I'm really not sure how I feel about the mechs in this fantasy space, but hey, the steampunk kind of feel, I think I can get behind that. And if it's like magic powered, that's the thing. Like magic, if you somehow tie the magic into it, that's where I think it fits lore wise. So the cool thing about this is, this little buckler shield, like that's actually I think realistic. Like back in the day, they used to like would have a sword and a very small shield. You usually don't have big shields, right? Like definitely heard of that. This rifle reminds me of Assassin's Creed quite a bit, honestly. Like this video showing the combat is really like this isn't just a trailer. I was in the crypto gaming space for quite a bit, played a lot of those games, had studios reaching out to try and do coverage on them, and some of them it's just like it was an amazing trailer, it looks like this is going to be a great game, and then there's just so trash mechanically. And I think Crimson Desert's kind of done the opposite. Like they don't have like this crazy cinematic story that's really pulling us in yet. But the combat, all of the mechanics, they've dropped so many YouTube videos on this, and I think that excellent YouTube strategy. Honestly, it's gotten me so pumped. Obviously. Okay. So we had lightning and fire. I really need to learn what are the benefits of each. That's something that I'll be doing a whole guide on, like what are the best elements for each situation, which creatures are weak to each element. I think that'll be cool. The dives, dude. That's cool. The two-handed staff. I wonder what it's gonna be like. I wonder why this is a little bit laggy. Since it's just a little bit of lag. Also, going back into this, like, it's so cool that we're gonna be able to do all these different approach velocities. I've mentioned this in other streams, but like swing up and then just come down. Boom. Just blew up 4 dudes and then goes back up. So cool. Okay, clearly this two-handed sword is from Black Desert, the main icon for that character. I was just playing it, just choosing my character selector and stuff, and she definitely has some resemblances there, huh? Oh, I can't wait to see how this progression system works. Like, if we go deep into hand to hand, like, brutality. It's like a Mortal Kombat finisher. All right. Ooh, a little rogue. Dual daggers. Do like that kind of play style. It is cool. I actually really like how, like, you know, you walk around, you're searching, and then some of these things will show up. And from what I've seen so far, they don't have like a mini map that's going to tell you, oh, there's all these icons all over the place. So that's going to feel like you're actually exploring and trying to find this. That's what I like to see in an open world RPG. I mean, dude, what did they do to her? Like, come on. Pearl Abyss. You guys have some babes in Black Desert. Like, this character just doesn't hit. Just so bland. Could be so much better, I think. Really, really impactful. It doesn't need to be over sexualized, like I mentioned in the last stream too, but could be totally different. Force palm. Just oh, there's gonna be some cool secrets to find by gliding around. Can't wait to see that. Yeah, I really wonder. Like, going super deep into one chain, like, Oh, that punch was pretty crazy. I wonder how the crafting system's going to work. Are they going to be taking stuff from Black Desert? So wait, let's go back on that just a second. Let's take a quicker peek at this. Okay, so one-handed goes from level 0 to level 1. Gets 8 attack damage. That's actually substantial. It's like almost 100, like it's an 80% increase in damage there. It's pretty crazy. Plus, you're getting a critical hit chance increase percentage. Attack speed increase. Yeah, that's very interesting. Now, what do we need to upgrade this? Is it just hammers? So you spend hammers to upgrade? Okay, you purchase the hammer for the coins. And wow, okay, this is really interesting. Look at this. The silver, like 1.52, and the total's like 6.6. Maybe it's like really expensive. Like finding coins, every time you find a coin, it's going to feel really good. You're like, oh, okay, I got some money, baby. And you'll be able to upgrade something. You'll be really selective. Hopefully, we have to be really selective. I really like it when that happens. Oh, okay. So we upgraded the hammer in this case. Hunting looks good. Okay, so what do we get to do here? So with the Abyss gear, so you can... So what does this do? Attack speed. Gain a range of effects. Okay, so it doesn't really tell you what it does. It just says attack speed 1, and maybe that just gives you attack speed 1? Okay, there we go. No, increase the attack also, only by 1. That's not much. Maybe that's just like a bonus. It upgrades the damage, but then the actual gear gives you that speed, that extra speed stat. I don't know. We will see. That could be something worthy of a video as well. Dude, that one looks so cool. That looks like a cool boss fight. I cannot wait for that one. There's gonna be some cool weapons. Weapon tier list video coming soon. Bringing down those arrows during the demo was one of my favorite things to do. Oh, what was that? Like shot out a whole bunch. That armor looks pretty cool though. That helmet at least. I'm not sure I like his attack style. We'll have to see what it's like, but I don't know. She looks fast and swift. It looks like she can do some cool things. Whoa, what are those like spirit ghosts that fight after you? That was pretty cool. Oh, baby. I can't wait to get in. I can't wait. Come on. Let me in. Okay. So next. So that's the number 2. Let's go to number 3. I really do hope that they're going to drop a big cinematic soon. Like something that we can get behind on the story and the music. That way it's like on Expedition 33's level. If they have it, I mean I don't need it. Clearly, I'm ready, and I'm ready to dedicate the next 2 months purely to Crimson Desert. But having that would be very, very helpful, I think, in just converting the people who aren't necessarily caring about the mechanics and stuff. They just want some good story. And I think we're going to lower this also. No, it is at 1080. See what the deal is. You just need to buffer a little bit. I mean, they've got to learn a lot of stuff from Black Desert, right? They got to know all the cool side quests and things to do that make it interesting. And building the Caveman camp. Yes! I'm so excited for this game. Okay, let's see what we get. What are all these things we get to buy? I want to see exactly what that is. There it is. Okay, packed provisions. A crate containing camp provisions packed to meet the standard required for trading, whether this item is... Okay. Oh, you're just selling it. Okay. That must be something you pick up. Shit, this goes too fast. We're going to go to 25% speed. See what is in here. Playback speed, like 60. There we go. Okay. Packed timber. Okay, so we just... Like, I'm assuming these are all things we find from our... Oh, when we come in with a wagon. So there must be, like, wagon missions. If we do those, that's where we get to upgrade our camp. And there's a price change thing here. I am really curious if we're going to see some, you know, connection to the other players in the game. Like, maybe these might sell for different things, or maybe just throughout the game prices change. That'd be something that we should track also. Maybe we can have a video just breaking down when is the best time to sell these. I don't know. Wow, we have a lot of gold now, though, or a lot of silver, whatever that is. That is substantial. Okay, so let's go back to regular speed. Not 1.05. Shit. Okay. Nice. Good cooking. Like Final Fantasy 15, I loved cooking in that. Like, you had some meals that would literally make you so hungry, made me want to try all kinds of different like food from like Asia. I don't know. There's some really cool stuff. Okay, barley just restores health. Meat jerky, 60 health. Okay, and then we'll probably figure out like what's the best price to health ratios. Obviously, you know, maybe you don't want to eat the grilled bird meat all the time. Stamina restore. Oh, I'm gonna be a farmer. Oh yeah. Oh, this feels so cool. I really hope. But one of the things that I'm wanting to do is make my own game, and I have a game design doc, and this is the closest game that's ever come to what my true vision is for a game. And the idea here in my game is that you build up this kind of camp, and you have all these people you find over time. You recruit, you get them in your camp, and then you have big like faction battles. And I think we see one in one of the other trailers where it looks like the Caveman's are going to go battle them, and based on how many people you recruit, that's like your force. And if they go in and people die, like they die permanently. And I'm curious how that'll pan out in this one. Okay, so they have general skills and abilities there. I wonder what the skills are. That'll be interesting. And then here is this. It can be deployed. I love being able to deploy. This is so cool. Once again, that's something else I really want in a game, and I can't wait to see how they've set this up. Okay, large park. Mission list. Okay, here's the mission. Required people 4 to 6. It's 2 days and 6 hours. So there's actually a day system, a time that's correlated with in-game time. That's awesome. I am so excited for this. Okay, free swords. This must be all the people we have right now. Ooh, okay. And then you get like extra percentages based on what the skills are that they come with. Wait a second. Actually, I wanted to see. Reward is these. What are these icons? I wonder what that is. All right. Require currency, just like their armor and health. Look at these percentages dropping. Towns, cities, and beyond. Nice. Yeah. Are there any benefits to this? Oh, they do have benefit. Okay. What's this? Paintings, collectible, sell for this. You gain trust. Okay, so there's a trust thing. So I'm sure as we, sell and buy goods and services, we can build up trust. Maybe just with the general folk too, like this noble. Get a gold ring. Nice. Hey. Oh, I love mini games too. Little games like that. I'm sure one of these is where we're gonna make money, make some bank. So figuring out these, we'll definitely find the most economical way to make coin. Well, we're always on the edge. Love the puzzles. Dude, this game has so many mechanics. So cool. Timber. Whoa, okay, look at his spirit. Whoa, okay, day 35. So that's pretty, I think that's the furthest I've seen in days. And look at he's got the 5-leaf clover. He's got he's got 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe it goes up to 10, 11, 12. 12 spirit bars. I wonder what you can do. I'm sure there's some really cool skills that can only be activated when you have like ultimate spirit, and then you can do some busted, just some really cool stuff. Let's go fishing, baby. I might honestly just try and mod this game. If they allow any sort of modding, maybe I'll just try and do a mod off this. Like, it's literally, the mechanics and systems just look so incredible. I kind of like this. Like, it's like you open a book, it kind of takes a second to load, but then you learn everything from it. Instead of, like, you actually reading the pages, like, who does that? I mean, there are people who like that kind of lore, but I always find it too long. Like, no. Clive looking good there. All right, that's all we got. This is going to be pretty cool. Taming our mounts. Like, what is the taming of the dragon going to be like? Like, what? That is going to be a huge boss fight. I can only imagine. Horse racing. I don't even remember seeing that one. Ooh, arm wrestling. Oh, an FPS like target. That's cool. I think I exited out before I got to this part. Wow. All right, folks, that's what we got. That's what we got. March 19th, baby. We're getting closer. We are getting closer. Okay, so let's get out of that one. We can close these two. All right, so we got 3 different interviews. I haven't watched any of these. If you guys have watched them, let me know what your guys' thoughts are. What do you think of these? So, like, 2 of them were with Luke. I'm going to go with the oldest one and then move forward just in case. Yeah, let's see. She said, clearly we can slay him, and he's not sure. We can fight him. Whoa, where is this footage? I don't think I've seen this gameplay before. Wait. Did she ask if you could date the dragon? Lay them. Ah, interesting. Okay. Oh god. That is huge. Dude, that lock on system right there. That actually reminds me of Armor Core 6. Like that are we got like an AC right here? Like that's awesome. Wait, what did he say? He says it's twice as big as Skyrim? Wow. Size does not matter. Yikes. Okay, this fight looks sick. You got all these people just standing on the top watching us gladiate battle in the arena here. That is sick. That is a cool one. I've not seen. But what are her questions? And she's got a fascination with romance. She wants some romance in this game. So pumped. Everything game. Wow, Will is a good speaker. Like he's doing really good. Like the way he's representing them. That was a really like political way to safely say he doesn't know, but here's what he's gonna say. I guess I kind of missed that. Sorry, I was so distracted by his. Okay, love it. Player agency, baby. That is the biggest thing in a game is player agency. I personally think it's the factor I look forward to in games the most. Oh, that was a cool secret like spot for that artifact there. I'll have to remember that one. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, you need a build up though. I wouldn't say it's boring. Like I love the start of a game and feeling meaningful character growth. We need that. You can you can catch rats. Very interesting. This is so cool. It's like they took the MMO approach, but they actually refined it into a single player experience, and that's so sick. You just get slammed by a bear. I that is it's ridiculous. He's about to say ridiculous. When I went in there, it was like, holy cow, I'm playing Dynasty Warriors, but it is like incredible quality. Mm. Yeah. Mm, okay. It does. And that's the feeling I'm getting. Like, I would not think this game has any chance at success if I didn't play it at Gamescom. And that was last year in, like, what was it, July? August, September? I don't remember when Gamescom was, but it was like, it's been like 6 months. Like, and I can only imagine it's improved. It's mind boggling. It actually is crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, this guy looks like a pain in the ass. He's got like this shotgun, like crossbow. Oh, he's gonna be a hard one. Wait, what? What was that? He's like doing some like Doctor Strange like spinning stuff. So he just used his spirit right here, and he's already spinning. I wonder if this is like a technique that any projectile that gets sent at you, you just capture it. That is such a cool spell. Boom, and then you send it back at him. That is a sick skill. That's cool. That was a cool attack. Yeah. What? This literally looks like the trolls from Dragon's Dogma 2 where they jump on the wall and you're stabbing them as they're in the wall. Crazy. Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't think he responded to this one very well. I think he's a little bit. He's like, I don't know, or he doesn't want to say the answer. Hmm. I'll be honest. I didn't like the pillar mechanics when I played it. I don't think that was the best way to set that up. It felt a little clunky. Maybe if they improved it, made it smoother, it could be a cool way to play and take down the boss. But yeah, we'll see. What is that dragon? That's a very good question. I am very interested to hear this because playing Black Desert is totally different. It feels totally different than this. Also, quick point: they're using lightning for the mechanical units. I'm assuming lightning's got to be a benefit to this, or its weakness. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I started following this back when Ashes of Creation was still in its like hype. Like everyone was super excited about Ashes of Creation. I'm like, I haven't played an MMO. I don't know what is a good MMO. I want to start researching, and then I saw this one in development. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna follow Crimson Desert. I'm gonna follow Ashes, and then they stopped doing the MMO side of things. Wait, what was that move? Tornado, fire tornado? What? Okay, mechanical clockwork blaster. Hmm. So that this guy has a stagger bar, by the way, so you could see it. He's building up that stagger bar, and then it finally collapses. So that's good to know. Hmm. Yeah. Can we just talk about how cool this boss fight is that's going on in the background? Like, I've not seen that boss fight. It is epic. What the heck? And now the dragon's coming in to support? Yeah, that's you need it. I'm so excited for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She loved grabbing her chicken. Yeah. Yeah, we've seen that in multiple of the trailers now. Artifacts. Hmm. I've never seen the canoe travel. That's pretty cool. Right? Meteor, Bahamut, Ifrit. Yeah. Hmm. King Ghost. You can't wait for this. Lightning is gonna be really good, and explosive arrows. I loved the explosive arrows when I tried it. Sorry, I missed your chat from a little while ago. Yeah, I really wonder what elements are gonna be the best. Like, and is it just purely? I was watching the Snow Beast. I forget what its name, the horn something, snow horn or something, and using the fire arrows on it look like the perfect counter, just like in Dragon's Dogma 2. Pretty cool. But you can't wait either, dude. I've already been pumped for this, and now I'm watching these interviews, and he is such a good speaker, like in presenting and talking about this, and I can't wait. I'm so pumped. Literally cannot wait. Scene. Hey, have you did you play test it? Were you at like Gamescom or any of the other conventions? Were you able to have you been able to try it? Mm-hmm. No, someone was playtesting it. One clip showed a few mounts, and a wolf was one of them, and it was big. Really, I didn't see the wolf one. I need to check that one out. I definitely saw the bear, but that is really, really cool. I wonder what other mounts there are, and I'm wondering how hard they are to actually like train, like to ride, like the dragon. Like it looks like taking the horse and being able to gallop and train it. Training a dragon? Ooh, let's see. That is a great question. I feel like that's their hardest part is being able to describe what their game is because it's got so many mechanics. How do they like actually like push this towards something? I don't know. Exactly. Exactly. I'll find the clip and I can show you if you have Discord. Yes, yeah, I do. I'd love to see that. Here, I'll pull up my Discord. I'll share the link. I think it might be broken on my channel actually. I just got back on to the YouTube, and I've been doing a lot of stuff in AI. I've been building some cool tools and stuff there. So I haven't been able to do my YouTube stuff nearly as much as I want to. But let me find my channel. I'll share that link in the chat, and that is invite link. Never generate new link. Copy. I don't think anyone's posted in this Discord in a while though, but happy to do that. Boom. So there that is. And for anyone who's wondering where that is on the live stream vertical on YouTube. I'm doing this. This is my first time doing vertical, and it's cool because King Ghost, I'm meeting there. But I've never done it before, so I got my camera set up differently than normal, and it's working pretty good though. Thanks for watching. Feel free to pop in. I'll definitely chat. And man, if you want to hop on a call sometime and just talk about what we're excited about, so happy to do that because none of my friends are actually excited about this, and I'm gonna have to pump them up because this game looks epic. Yep, Breath of the Wild. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's another reason why I think once this game gets out and word of mouth starts to spread of how awesome it is, I think it'll just start spreading to everyone. Like it doesn't matter if you're a Souls-like or you played Kingdom Hearts or any of those like action RPGs or even turn-based. Like let's go to like Expedition 33. I'm dropping a video tomorrow talking about how I think this may actually be able to sneak in and potentially even win Game of the Year if it meets all of our expectations. And that's because Expedition 33 had so much hype in December, Game of the Year awards, that everyone was buying it for Christmas presents and stuff. There's going to be a bunch of players that have been playing that for the last 3 months. They're going to be looking for a new game. And this game is coming out in the perfect timing right here in March. There's been no real competition. This is like the perfect window to launch a game. And I'm really thinking they're gonna get it. I can't copy and paste that, lol. I don't know if you have audio muted for the game. So it's a live stream. They just put the gameplay over the top. So it's just the interview that I'm watching. In King Ghost, if you just go to my Discord or on my channel, I should have a link to it. I'll just double check that that's actually working, because I do actually want to start building a community around this game, like I did with Dragon's Dogma 2. Okay, my channel. Let's just double check this. I do not have that on there. Let's just get that in there real quick. Channel customization. Where are my links? Add link. Discord. I don't know why I don't have those in here right now. That's ridiculous. Okay, publish. Okay, so it's on my channel. In the information, there should be the link to the Discord. That should be clickable, and then you could join from there. And then I need to get all my other stuff too. But it's a side quest, and it's missable. Okay, you're talking about the wolf? That's very interesting. Okay, I want a wolf mount. That sounds epic. Definitely. Great question. Are we going to cry when one of the main characters die? Like, we need some emotional damage, right? Like, we need something painful. We want to get attached to these characters. That's one of my fears, actually, is I don't think they're going to do that very well. Amazing question. Interesting. So the storyline is going to change as we progress. I have not heard anyone really talk about that. That is kind of interesting. Oh,
then
you're saying the
people's
desktop audio
actual
wasn't on.
story
Oh my god.
within the game will be
Sorry,
their
it is on
character
now.
story
That's
rather than a
embarrassing.
shared story that everyone
I must
experiences.
accidentally turn that off at one point.
Okay, the reason why I was a little bit confused because I was not sure if what you did on the side would influence the.
Well, it'll influence your experience.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I spent more time on side content than I have in the main storyline, so that's more important to me. And then that's my experience with the game.
Yeah.
But that's the same way I played Red Dead. That's the same way I played Skyrim. Like,
yeah. Skyrim, I didn't finish for years, actually. When it came out, I just did side content.
think I was the Dragonborn in Skyrim.
At some point.
I don't remember the plot. I remember diving into dungeons and doing that.
Yeah.
That's like, that became the story for me.
If you can share, is there any moment that particularly stands out for you that you can share of like you having your little story?
I like there's the subtle and not so subtle homages within the game. You mentioned that like there's references of like, I think Luke mentioned it earlier, where there are references to specific games, and when do you add the feature or not add the feature?
Yeah.
There are some like bang on the head examples where it's like, that's a Shadow of the Colossus reference or something.
Oh, nice.
That's hugely fun to me because I've played all these games.
Yeah.
Some of the younger people in the office, they don't even know what Shadow of the Colossus is, and so they don't get those references. But for people that have been playing games for 20,
I think this game has been made for us, at least for me in like my 30. I'm 31. It's like made for me. It feels like it's got so many aspects from everything I grew up on.
30 years, it's really cool to see all the different references that are coming together as one cohesive thing.
Cool.
I have a few rapid fire questions before we wrap up. So feel free, if you can answer, great. If not, no worries. You mentioned critical path versus side content. Most players are probably going to be pretty focused on side stuff. But do you have a ballpark estimate of how much of the game is critical path versus side content? Like, is it, 20% main path and then 80% of the content is side? Are you able to say anything about that?
That's too tough of a question to answer, like in all fairness, because everyone's experience is different. But for me, in my experience with the game really started once I beat it.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Like, because then I could do whatever I wanted.
Yeah, all the end game stuff, the side content.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fair to say that like
It's completely open. Yeah.
okay, so it's fair to say the main.
Exactly like Skyrim.
I am not going to say that sentence.
No. But like, what I mean is, in Skyrim, you can actually, in theory, do the main story in like 6 hours. But then you can go back into the world and there is, I don't know, there's people with 5,000 hours in it.
The main storyline is only a percentage of the experience you will have in the game, and it is not the majority percent.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
It's Skyrim too.
I'm not going to say this is exactly like this.
No, because no, don't get me wrong, it's a very different game than Skyrim. Just to make it clear. But like, it's just that Skyrim, like everything else, it feels like
it's
made of the smaller parts a lot more, if not as much as the main parts.
It's a sum of the whole. While the story is important, it's also very not for like a lot of people's experience in the game. What's most important is just that the game's fun, that people are going to have a fun time, and it's a world that you want to spend time in.
Wonderful. Next quick question. Are you able to speak at all about performance targets on console specifically? Target frame rate, performance mode, no performance mode, or is it too early?
No, but we will reveal that before launch.
Perfect.
So that's not that will get revealed.
It will not be a mystery. Yeah. Okay.
So just to elaborate on that slightly, the way that the development works, there's a hair flying in front of me. The way that
sorry, I'm moving.
Lewis' hair is in front of me.
So she messes with her hair more than anyone I've ever seen.
The development works is once a game goes gold, that's what's on the disc. Then continuous development, because that usually takes place X amount of weeks before launch. You continuously develop to make it and optimize it even further. So you have a preset amount of weeks to be able to develop what's traditionally known as the day one patch. That's not that's using all of the time to make the game continuously better. That day one patch will cement the performance. So obviously we have our internal targets that we're aiming to hit. That patch will effectively lock in what those whether or not we hit those targets or not.
Perfect. Okay. Well,
Why I can't answer it now because
yeah, it's still in flux.
the development's not done yet.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And one thing I guess to wrap up, and maybe Lua has a final question too, but I always like asking, people working on these types of games, what is something that you feel is not getting enough attention? What is something you're like,
Good
I wish
question.
people would
Good
notice
question.
this. I wish people would talk about this. What is something you feel deserves more attention?
It annoys me when people talk about the controls. It really annoys me. There was one Reddit post where, this is just
Mistake number 1 was going on Reddit. Yeah.
mistake number 2 is publicly admitting I read. Someone
He reads it, guys.
somebody said the controls seem to be really tough, and then the immediate reply under it is, if a PR guy can play those controls, you can't too.
But that's awesome.
I think that the
Getting
funny
dissed.
thing is, it's like
That's funny.
it goes back to what we talked about before, though. We're dropping you in dozens of hours into the game with like a 60% unlocked character and all these controls. That's like putting you in Evo. All right, go. You need to battle Sonic Fox right now. Good luck beating them.
Yeah. Well, and the example
the experience.
Well, and the example I gave on stream when people brought this up too was like, think of a game that relies a lot on muscle memory, which this one no doubt will,
for
because
sure.
it's inspired by games like Bayonetta. Even if you look at like a Ghost of Tsushima, like needing to quickly swap.
Well, awesome. Thanks, King. Yeah, man. If the Discord links should be good. Let me know if that works or not. Dude, this is so cool. You have to type it, the Discord. Oh, okay. Shoot, that's annoying.
Between stances, if you give a player who's never played Ghost of Tsushima before, like a DLC Iki Island save and go juggle stances and fight them, like, they're gonna have a tough time. They will say the controls are clunky because they don't have.
And it's just like when you play the demo, like there's so many people who are complaining about that, but when you're playing the demo, you have like so many systems thrown at you in like a 5-minute window. It's crazy. Just the elemental system alone. Literally, one of the guys saw that I wasn't using the elemental system at all. He's like, hey, I just want to let you know, I've been watching you. You haven't used any of the elemental system. Here's how to do it, and it drastically will change these fights. And so then I took a second to relearn the elements, and it was like, what the heck? Like, I was using Frost then and just freezing. It was so cool. So people just need to know that it's going to have a better on-ramp. And that was something that I noticed in Black Desert Online, is it has a decent tutorial that builds you up. And I can only imagine that they're going to make sure the tutorial is good as it goes up.
That muscle
Sometimes
memory.
even a game that you have played for a while, if you go back to it a year later, you're going to struggle with your own character.
I'm actually scared of that. I'm going to play some Dragon's Dogma. Probably not tonight, actually, because this was a longer interview than I thought it was going to be. But I'm afraid, like, I'm going to go back to Dragon's Dogma 2, and I'm going to struggle to play that game.
So
Yeah. So the developer spoke to this a little bit, and I really liked what they said. They said that side note, the controls aren't done until the game launches. We're continuously like optimizing and changing the controls based on feedback. That's why we've toured around to PAX East, West, Gamescom, TGS, and showed it to everyone, because we actually take that feedback and implement it. And those controls have drastically changed between a year ago and now. But the way that the people that actually made the controls and designed the combat described it, they wanted to create intention behind each button.
Yeah.
So that way it becomes muscle memory and actually becomes intuitive. Even if you don't even know if this is a control, you would press it, or you would combine those two based on your understanding of the systems that you've already been taught in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally you would learn it because you'd be fed that about how that interacts with the rest of the world, even outside of combat.
And that also makes sense why people who are playing the middle of the game, they feel like they have a hard time because they didn't have the preparation to get there.
They have no context.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
like
overwhelmed.
that's if we drop someone in the beginning of the game and they have that same feedback, then that's completely different.
Yeah, but the problem is if you drop somebody in the beginning of the game, you can't show where the game starts to shine because the beginning of the game is very basic.
Exactly. So you would need to show both. And that's like there's still a bunch of time between now and launch. So that's the intention, is being able to elaborate in some of the areas where we haven't shown as much yet.
Well, and and I don't think we'll necessarily use this, but just as a piece of unprompted, unwanted advice from me, probably the best preview thing I ever did for a game was for KCD 2, because they literally brought us in. There were like 5 of us, and we played the game 6 hours of the game. Yeah, it was great. I think I told you about this at SGF. I was like, dude, that. And people love
Toby.
Oh, he's so great, isn't it?
I worked on KCD 1.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think you mentioned that. He's great.
So like it's, yes, Toby is amazing. I will say, and you can feel free to use this, like if every game is different and every game needs to be shown differently as a result,
Yeah.
because like theoretically, like if the beginning of the game isn't as exciting, you don't want that to be your only preview.
Okay, I don't think we need to
Or
listen to the rest of this. I don't know
like-
if there's much more.
The other stuff before, I want to see their twist on it. I want to see, because they clearly will view it from different eyes and they will bring to it something that I haven't seen before in a single player.
In King Ghost, it didn't work, really. That is unfortunate. The link works in the chat. I just tested it. So that should be fine. I wonder why it is not working. Invite. Yeah, expire never, no limit. Yeah, I don't know. I want to see that link to that clip, or I'll have to search it. Maybe I'll just search it in a moment to find where it is. But yeah, really not sure.
Player game. And to me, this mystery, this spice is what makes Crimson Desert so
Oh, you found a
attractive.
way again. Awesome.
Mhm.
And I see you're on the horizontal now.
I like to think is that the company excels in world building, and that's what players can expect for Crimson Desert, is a very fleshed out world that you're going to want to sink a lot of hours into, because that's the DNA that comes from the MMO space, about this
Yep.
beautifully crafted world that has all this interactivity and all these systems built upon it, and then this story-driven narrative to be able to guide you through the space.
That's what we want. That's what
Do
we
you
want.
have anything you would like us to touch on that we have not?
Feel free to just drop it in general. I really don't have like all of these channels were set up back when we were doing the Raven Quest MMO and then another game. So it's set up as like a guild and not necessarily as a really good community Discord. So let me know if you don't have access to share links, and then I can change that as well. I'll just give you some extra roles. Hey, there it is. I see it. Okay, playing it early. Ask me anything. Oh, do we need to watch this immediately? Okay, maybe I'll watch that right after this.
No romances then.
No dragon lovemaking.
Oh yeah, I was very careful about not saying December and like saying now.
Yes, thank you. I noticed that. That's good.
In relative terms. I will just want to do a release date plug, probably.
Sure.
Release dates and platforms.
Sure.
No,
Yeah. So also, just a question: what can when can people get the game? Where can they get it? What does that look like for you guys?
Yeah. The game comes out on March 19th
That's silly.
across basically every platform. It'll be available on consoles on PS5 as well as Xbox Series
Okay,
X
we're
and
done.
S,
We're done with that.
PC, as well as natively on Mac.
Boom. Get us out of here. Okay, let's check yours out because I have not even seen this one. Who is this? How big is this guy? 'Cause
Loaded.
I'm trying to get access. I'm trying to see if I can get it. Okay, he's massive. 621,000. 5 hours? This was only 5 hours ago. Okay, shoot. Thanks for sharing. All right, we're watching some fresh stuff now. All right.
The biggest game releases of the year.
And
at
it
the
gets
best
more
prices.
insane. I love that.
So I'm going to be playing Crimson Desert early next week, thanks to a preview event.
What can I get access, please? I'm about to once my video drops tomorrow, I'm reaching out to Will. I'm gonna be like, please. I'll buy my ticket, I'll buy I'll pay to everything. Let me in.
And that Pearl Abyss will be holding. And no, I'm not trying to like rub it in or anything, but if you guys have any specific questions still about the game, or if you want to check out something specific that hasn't been covered before, you can totally leave some comments down below, and I'm going to try to check as much of those as possible.
That's something I haven't seen in a minute. The cannon fire was a pretty interesting element too. I make a reference tomorrow in my video about how it reminded me of like Lord of the Rings. If you played like the old Lord of the Rings, like Two Towers, Return of the King, like there's these siege elements that were thrown in there. That just brought back some really good nostalgia.
Once I get my hands on it. Of course, both that as well as my first impressions of the game with the latest build will be posted once that embargo lifts. But in the meantime, we've also got to talk about even more crazy details, thanks to even more recent interviews, like the fact that you can specialize into a full-blown archer, about game optimization, and much more. And I want to touch base exactly on that.
There's like something playing in the background of his audio. I think his audio is scuffed.
One thing first, the fact that a lot of the gameplay we've seen so far included a build that unlocked in pretty much all directions, but traditionally most players tend to typically specialize in one or two play styles, and that is the thing about Crimson Desert. It lets you play exactly how you want. One of the things that really caught my eye was the fact that the skill trees are deep enough to facilitate a lot of play styles that you can go deeper into with a lot of them.
Like the echo in this video is actually bothering me. Do you hear that too, King, when you watch this video?
Amazing unlocks, and one of the examples given was for a full-blown archery playstyle. There are many skills in the tree over there that facilitate that may
cool.
improve stuff like slowing down time, charge up shots, defensive mechanics, not just damage. And from the looks of it and some of the gameplay we had so far, it seems that definitely archery is a viable playstyle that can deal some really serious damage. I'm not just talking about taking down targets, but literally also against bosses. In fact, we can see in some of the IGN videos posted before that.
Okay, yeah, you hear it too? Okay, that I wasn't sure if it was just me and maybe I had something echoing out of my audio channels or something.
You can definitely use different types of elemental arrows, like for example shock ones that seem to be really great against mechanical type enemies, but we can also make use of explosive arrows to pretty much lay waste against enemies and even destroy the environment. As we're going to talk about performance and optimization a little bit later in the video, one of the key aspects here is that environments in Crimson Desert are highly destructible. Like we're talking about outposts, parts of them, barricades, and so on. It can be destroyed with explosive arrows. That's just one aspect of it. You can totally go with different playstyles. For example, going with a tank, leaning into perfect parries and perfect dodge mechanics, as there are skills to improve those as well, all the way to optimizing towards a stealth.
But King, what kind of playstyle are you thinking you're gonna want to play? Is there any particular path you're thinking? I'm really wondering if I want to go hard into grappling or, you know, do we want to train the spear, the sword? It might also just come down to what cool equipment we get. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting.
Play style. And yeah, what you need to keep in mind is that a lot of this is not just determined by your skill tree, but actually even more so by the gear. Of course, we know from some of the recent presentations that gear is highly unique in this game. There are specific places we're gonna hunt it in, but they may provide some very strong bonuses. So it's not a RPG where loot is randomized and you get random stats on them. Everything is very like determined, which will encourage you to go out there and explore and find everything. dropping, which kind of ties into the next subject that Will talked about, and that is the fact that there are even more ways to acquire loot than before. We of course already know about the fact that bosses, a lot of them can have unique pieces of loot dropping, but what we probably didn't know is that quite a few of them can drop more than one single unique piece of gear. One of the examples given was the night boss encounter we've seen in some of the footage. He can drop both a shield, a mace.
I fought that guy. That guy is, maybe not the night boss, but that guy, whew, pretty intense fight.
Of gear. One of the examples given was the night boss encounter we've seen in some of the footage. He can drop both a shield, a mace, and possibly a pair of shoulders as well, which can have unique mechanics on them. Others, on the other hand, can be given by completing
King Ghost, you want to do a dual blade stealth, lightning, and explosive stuff with the bow. Okay, yeah, that sounds sick. You know, I saw the dual blades on one of his companions, but I haven't actually seen Cliff use the dual blades. I really hope that they haven't shown that, and there's like actually a huge variety of different weapons we're going to be able to use. But I haven't seen Cliff being able to use that. Have you?
quest lines, and one of the most important that can provide that are completing quest lines for some of the houses in the game, at the end of which the lord of that house can give you a very unique item, or in this case a blueprint that you can then craft. Speaking of blueprints, you can definitely find that or unique gear organically out into the open world as well. One of the examples given was how you can, for example, go into a fort for completely different reasons, but then find a hidden passage within a dungeon that eventually leads to a chest that has a specific armor, weapon, or pretty much the blueprint needed to craft that, which actually sounds really exciting because that is exactly what I like seeing in open world games. Usually they feel very static and dead, but there are some games out there that manage to do it properly. Like Elden Ring again is probably the best example, because there are many times you just go into a place in a very unassuming cave, all to find some random boss you fight that may give you a really interesting unique item. Which brings us to another topic: how factions function and how they influence your gameplay. We have some extra information on that as well. And initially, not all factions will be friendly towards you, or even neutral for that matter. Some of them may start directly in a war state, meaning that if you visit a city controlled by them or a specific location they are present in, their guards will immediately attack you, so it's likely you won't do much over there. However, there are ways to increase that reputation and progressively get access to cooler stuff from them. One of the main ways that was discussed about was if you follow the main storyline, there is at least one faction in the game that starts in a war state, but eventually via the story you get introduced to that faction.
Whoa. What's that? I just built a budgeting app with Base 44.
No.
Guys, we need to just build.
No ads.
And that's how you can then build.
King Ghost. Not actually players using it, but one of the trailers had a small clip that you would have to slow down to see it. Oh, okay. Good. I wasn't sure, because I actually like stealth also. There's a game I played that entirely was just all about that and getting those back attacks. And I wonder if that's what it's going to be like here too. But I feel like in this game, it's really hard to get back attacks, because once the enemy is focused on you, they generally are always auto-locked on you. So we'll see how that works. There was that one boss fight where you could mantle over him, and that is a cool skill, definitely, especially for that one fight. And then maybe you can get a couple of attacks in the back, and I'm sure if you have your daggers, the huge crits, that'd be pretty cool.
Up reputation with it. Of course, it's not the only way, and we'll explain that the critical path, the main storyline, is only a fraction of what the game has to offer. The side content is even larger, and some of that side content will eventually be just some of these side quests, and pretty much like quest chains, full-blown stories that we can follow for all of the factions in the game, which have benefits along the way. So besides building their reputation, every time you get to a new node, you're going to unlock new stuff in that region, like new vendors, but also resource nodes that you can then mine or just collect to funnel into rebuilding your own camp. As you already know, that's a feature in and of itself. And since we were on the subject of combat, another interesting aspect is that, yeah, we don't have access to just the sword and the shield, and from the looks of it, we can actually swap that mid-combat. We're gonna have it on the wheel over here, and we can either go to the default way, but we can also get other weapons, and so far we've seen quite a large selection of them. We have halberds, we've had spears. I'm pretty sure that he already confirmed the mace and the shield like we talked about before, but it's possible we may get others. I'm not completely certain yet if we have great swords for Cliff's playstyle. We do have one for Damian, but it would be nice to have one on him as well. And a lot of this will be accessible via side content. Even the Dwarven War Mech that we've seen in so much of the gameplay is actually unlocked via a side quest, so it sounds like it's totally missable, but if you go out there and take it, it's going to be worth it, because from the looks of it, it seems very strong.
It does
and there
seem
are other
pretty
tools
strong
as well that we can use. At some point in one of the recent gameplay trailers from a few months back, we've seen a toy which is pretty much acting like an EMP, capable of taking down a lot of these Dwarven technologies, other mechanoid units, pretty much like full.
Oh, what? Okay, that was pretty cool. So it literally is an EMP. He intentionally got higher to activate the EMP higher. I'm pretty sure that's what he was doing, because EMPs actually work better at a higher altitude.
Pipes, so that's something
that
cool. Is definitely possible, but likely on a very long cooldown from the looks of it. So this is like part of it. Besides this, we also have to talk about mounts. Mounts are a very interesting topic, because initially we do start with a horse, and it does seem that we can pet our horse and have other interactions with it as well.
Oh, is that the wolf you're talking about? This little puppy? Does that turn into a full mount? But yeah, I like the wrestling. I'll be doing that. Yeah, awesome. You see what I mean? Hey.
We can also, of course, tame horses, so this likely implies that we may find other specimens with better stats on them. But besides this, we're gonna have access to other mounts too that fit different functionalities. Some of them are early game, some of them are provided mid to late game. So we've seen an assortment.
Oh, that was it. That was the wolf. I just saw it. Okay, that's an actual wolf.
Different functionalities. Some of them are early game,
that is
some
like
of them
one
are provided
scene.
mid to late game.
One scene. That is a wolf. Awesome. That is a good find. Holy crap. That's like maybe a second there. That is pretty cool. All right. That has got to be hard to capture. And I wonder if there's going to be a breeding mechanic. They never asked. I doubt there's a breeding mechanic. I'm sure it's all just wild captures, but cool. The wolf looks good. That is an epic shot, though. You know what? I need, actually, let's make that full screen. I'm going to take a shot of that and make it a thumbnail. So that's pretty cool. And I'll make sure to give you credit. Quit the whole thing. That made me so happy.
Game. So we've seen an assortment of other creatures too, like this bear unit right here that can also be used at, well, combat in general, which is really awesome because you can swipe and maul targets with it. But we've also seen an equivalent wolf mount.
Oh, okay. He actually does talk about it more in detail. Okay.
And of course, we then have the dragons and the mechanoid units that we can eventually unlock, but that is also really interesting. We of course also have to talk about optimizations. What's interesting about Crimson Desert is that it's actually built on a brand new proprietary engine called Black Space.
Dude, I'm telling you, after this game, if it actually meets all of my expectations, I think I'm literally just gonna can I be a part of the team? I want to develop a game on your engine. What do I have to do that? This is so cool.
Which Perlib is designed for open world games and all of their future titles as well. And this is, by the way, separate from the Black Desert engine as well. So luckily enough, this is not on Unreal, which it's kind of odd because it was always supposed to be super optimized, but every game that came out on Unreal Engine always ended up being a super unoptimized mess. So I'm curious to see what they're able to do with this. But in engine also means it's possible for the game.
I really do think that that's not an Unreal Engine issue. That's just the developers. I think that they just saw all the features they could use, and then they just pushed it, and it made it cheaper, faster, and a quicker turnaround. I don't know.
To natively hit 4K 60 FPS. That is what the team is aiming for.
King Ghost Wolf saying Game of the Year. Dude, I'm right there with you. Like, I know GTA 6 is here, and it is going to be a tough fight. But here's the thing, another point, you'll want to watch my video tomorrow, but the other point I make is that GTA is coming out on November 19th. They've only got like a couple weeks to convince everyone that that is the best game of the year. Crimson Desert's coming out now, and it's going to be a hit. I'm going to say it's going to be a hit for at least a few months, and it's gonna get traffic. I know it will.
At the very least from the interviews, and it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to hit it on all hardware. Obviously you will need very good hardware for that, but looking at the minimum specs on Steam, it's actually pretty manageable from the looks of it if you're willing to make some sacrifices. Of course, you're going to have technology behind it like AMD FSR, ray tracing. You also have like global illumination, volumetric clouds, and so on. However, one thing that's really interesting, and I'm not sure how they will handle this performance wise, is that it seems a lot of the environment is destructible. You're going to find a lot of like barricades, as well as wooden structures in general seem to have a high level of destructibility, leaving behind a lot of debris, which is actually really interesting. But one thing they talked about before is that a lot of the bling and all of this like performance hit stuff that just enhances the visuals without necessarily impacting your gameplay can be turned off. So if you don't really care about all the bling and just want to have a good experience, add a good performance, and have some fun with the game, you can definitely turn a lot of them off. Even recently we discovered, of course, that a lot of the particles can be turned all the way off if you don't want to see that, which I assume will also hit performance if it's maxed out. Besides that, PS5 Pro enhancements are confirmed, and of course potentially a Steam Deck support eventually. Will did not completely rule it out, but also no official confirmation yet if it's going to arrive on Steam Deck at
King Wolf, that's a month before my B-Day and day. What is the launch of this game, or GTA 6?
any point. I think a lot of this will depend on how much they are able to further optimize it ahead of launch. Anyway, that about concludes today's video with some of the major stuff that was talked about before. Again, leave your comments down below. If you have any questions or anything like that, let me know in the comments, and I will try to check out as much of the gameplay as possible. On top of the other stuff I was already planning to check out. So we're going to talk about more of that in the following days, weeks, and of course, the month ahead of the game's launch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Boom. All right. Well, let's see what he publishes next week. Can't wait to see. Or when the content embargo lifts. Man, I really, really, really do want to get to that. Okay, so we got two more. We got this one by Destin. Only 136,000 subscribers. You got an interview. That's pretty cool.
And I am
he talks about the single player shifts.
I got to sit down with the team to ask them all about it. Let's dive right in. Will, thank you so much for joining me today. Man, Crimson Desert, everybody's talking about.
Okay. That's a month before my B-Day and day. GTA. Okay, my birthday is actually November 22nd, so I'm right there with you. It's like 3 days before my birthday. So, either way, I'm going to be playing Crimson Desert until probably Blood of the Dawnwalker comes out. Then Blood of the Dawnwalker is going to come out. Then I'm going to be playing it until Fable comes out. And then we're going to have our GTA launch. Dude, this year, it's peak. Peak gaming. There's some incredible games. I cannot wait. This year is looking so good.
Everyone's hyped. How does that feel?
It feels good. It's a long time coming, and that's kind of the fun of it. This is a new project, one for the team, and then two, it's a new challenge because through the development cycle of this game, the game's reinvented itself. And not only are we doing what's needed to be done with any game launches, get the news out to the public, but we also need to change what people know about the game because the game has changed since it was originally announced. So that's a fun new challenge, and getting the word out about what the game.
Yeah, I mean he's got a
really
really hard job.
Launch is, I think people are really getting excited about.
Actually,
it now.
No, he has a really easy job because this game is amazing. And there's so much to talk about. He's got so much content to make. Like, he could make so many videos showing it off.
I think it was last year I got a very brief appointment with you at SGF. So you got to take me through a speed run of that demo. the devs got me in, and I had a conflict, but I was pretty interested in what I saw. Had the feedback about the particle effects that a lot of people had, and it seems like you've addressed it with more recent footage. So that's really great.
I love
stuff.
particle effects.
But
Stop crying about particle
I
effects.
was just gonna say that is one thing like about Pearl Abyss and the developers is when they get feedback, they legitimately listen, and I think that's something that comes from the heritage of they've started working on live service games. So from the heritage of like everything being a community based and having to do with the community, then you actually listen to feedback. So you can turn off the particle effects. If you don't like them, just turn them off. It's that simple. It's in settings.
I know. Yeah, that's the way I view like any visual effect thing. Like I think that's one of the things, and I even mentioned this one once again in the video that drops tomorrow, is how it's cool to have those visual effects, because that's what stands it out other than like some standard UE game that's trying to be realistic. And this, this year, I feel like the last like 3 or 4 years, like realism doesn't have a cool feel to it anymore. Now we're actually wanting more stylized content to actually have that artistic and creative approach, and I think having that VFX is what makes Crimson Desert stand out in an artistic way.
So they do convey important information to help you not have tons of UI up in fights.
That's also
and
true.
To be able to do combat better, but if you don't like them, that's your prerogative. Just turn them off.
Well, I mean, that's sort of interesting. Usually people don't go right into performance, but on console, can you give us an idea of what we're going to be looking at in terms of what levers we can push and pull?
Great question. Right now we are in the optimization phase. So, and some settings are going to be, are probably going to be different on PC and console just based on the hardware and horsepower that's available on PC. But TBD on that, we will address all of that before launch.
Well, can you tell me, are there plans to do anything with the PS5 Pro, for example?
Yes, we do have PS5 Pro enhancement. The exact specifications of that will be revealed a little bit more. But we got that little badge on our store page, so I can confirm that there is going to be enhancement for the Pro SKU.
Great. Well, I actually wanted to start with a little bit more of a softball. I wanted to know and just sort of take through.
We'll probably
the
skip over the
audience
overview.
I can turn your wildest ideas
Bah!
into a song.
Ad.
Just describe it in a few words.
Gross.
Choose a style. And let me think
King
of
Ghost
it.
Wolf. Fable is definitely another game I want. Yeah, Fable. Oh, one of my OGs. I loved playing Fable as a kid. Cannot wait for that to come out. That's going to be a huge one. Haven't seen much gameplay, though, so I'm always a little bit scared there. But, yeah, and then Phantom Blade Zero. I haven't played any of those games. I think that's like a series, right? I've not played any of the Phantom Blades.
Military.
Might have to check that out.
There's a lot going on there with competing forces. Delicia, which is the center of like technology. So these countries aren't just countries in name; they're countries in like geopolitics as well. So like Delicia, they've really adopted technology. So they have mechs, they have flying robots. Like this is not your typical fantasy. This is almost leaning a little bit more towards steampunk.
Yeah.
When you're in this region.
Cool.
But what are your thoughts on steampunk? Anyone in the chat? Do you guys like that they threw in the mechs, or like what are your thoughts on that, adding that in? Because I feel like that was something that just kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't really notice that in the trailer. Looking back at some of the older trailers earlier today, I did notice like, okay, some of these were there. You could see that was a mech there, or these drones flying around. But it wasn't until these more recent trailers and gameplay reveals that we saw what the heck. There's a giant mech, like an armor core unit we're able to use. What the heck?
And then there's the fifth region, which is the Crimson Desert. So this big arid.
It's a new game, no series. I like. Okay, wait. Phantom Blade Zero. Blade Zero. Well, I need to. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is not what I thought. I thought it was like a futuristic, like kind of like a anime with like an e-girl that was the main character. Badass e-girl though. Okay, yeah, I'll have to take a look at that. That looks already kind of cool, just from the graphic or the art I'm seeing. And then you like it. You like the mechs. Yeah, no, it'll be pretty cool. Yeah, I'm Well, I think it'll be pretty cool. I have to get used to seeing that in the medieval fantasy kind of elements, but what he's talking about right now is interesting.
That's kind of governed and run by outlaws. So there's all these different regions that you kind of progressively move through with the story of the game, eventually just exploring this entire continent.
Wow, that sounds cool. And it's nice to hear, like, I can already start envisioning different biomes, different technological aspects, like you mentioned in the one area, versus the more militaristic, or maybe they combine their powers. You just open yourself up to a lot of potential there.
Yeah, and there's factions that you are.
Okay, let's hear more
I'm
about
a
the
big
character.
fan of Souls-like games.
Let's hear more about this.
You never even have to have guys come up to you.
What if I want to face tank everything?
If you want to face tank stuff, I mean, that's a little bit more of a gear specialization that is.
Okay.
But there's perfect parry mechanics. There's perfect dodge mechanics. There's things that allow you to lean into the play style that you want to play as.
You want to watch the gameplay that's like 20 minutes long. Okay, for Phantom Blade Zero. Is it clean? Is it pretty clean gameplay? I'll check it out.
And I think that's what's really fun about this game to me, because I'm a big fan of Souls-like games. I love From Software, love them. This is not a Souls-like. And I parallel it a lot to Bloodborne, in the sense that Bloodborne, love the game. It forces you to play as a counter, like with the shotgun. So it forces you into that mechanic. That's not really my play style if I have to choose. I'm more of a roly dexy pokey guy when I play Soulsborne games, and that doesn't allow me to play as that type of archetype. This game allows you to both from gear choice and optimization, as well as skillation.
I say it right? All right.
That's how I say it. I don't know if we're both saying it wrong.
We heard that a couple times.
Who knows? But like something with like really unique perks or a really special strength. Do the armor sets have that?
I don't know if you're asking. So let me address the question in a way that I know the answer to. You can get there's a ton of different loot within the game, and it is not a like Diablo style like loot game where you're getting different rolls off of enemies. The loot and stuff you're getting is because you found blueprints within the world, and you're crafting it with resources that you spent a while trying to find within the world.
I really do prefer that too. Having a more curated experience. It's not just like every person you kill, you get a whole bunch of stuff, and then you have like 20 different swords you got to sort through and decide which swords you think is best. I'm really, really pumped for that.
Beat bosses, and they dropped this specific armor, or you went into a fort and found a hidden passage within a dungeon, and there was a hidden chest that had this specific weapon or armor piece, or you did an entire quest line, and that was your reward from the lord of that house at the end of it. Those are the kind of the big moments, because you're kind of what I'll call power level, for lack of a better term, for understanding of how like you stack up against the enemies and the kind of the difficulty within the game. Your power level is gear based, so gear is a very important thing in terms of how you stack up against the difficulty within it. So these are less cosmetic, much more utility, but you can also have really cool cosmetic looks. There's all sorts of ways you can customize even the unique gear.
Yeah, I'm super excited for all the color.
You have
dyes and whatnot.
Also sort of talked about your mounts. You can ride dinosaurs, bears, mechs.
I forgot. You can ride the Velociraptor. That looks sick. I'm sorry. I'm going for Velociraptor over Wolf. All right? Let me make that clear. I will be riding a Velociraptor for a good portion of this game.
Is that like the whole gamut of mounts that you can have, or can you tease any of the others?
There's more stuff. I don't want to say like definitively in any one direction of like you can ride this the entire game, because some of the stuff might be a late game like unlock. Dragons and mechs, like it's things like that are very, very strong and like quote unquote overpowered, compared to singular melee units on the ground. That's late game. That's your reward for spending time and investing within the game. That's how the developers have chosen to. It's like, you spent a lot of time on this quest. Like, let's give you something fun to play with. So that's kind of the approach on those things, how they balance. But there are much more mounts than just bears. It's called a raptor the dinosaur in the desert. Those are some of the things that
I'm going straight for the desert. Going straight for the desert.
I can guarantee there are more.
And you can guarantee there's more.
Hoodie 4.0.
So I mean, King Wolf, you already said the wolf, the bear. Bear looks pretty good that too. Seeing that just maul people, that's gotta be one of the best ones for sure, right?
Good to hear. You brought up late game. How long do you estimate it will take an average player to get through the
good question? I've been wondering
campaign, and then what do you have planned post game to keep them around? Keep them busy.
Keep them busy.
Respectfully, I hate this question.
I get it.
No,
I get it. So I'm curious. So here's how players devour games. They barrel through the main campaign, right? So I don't mean it the question to be rude.
Oh no. I don't take it as rude.
Sometimes
it's not offense to you. I hate the question because if I give a
King Wolf, it depends if you can survive in that area. Yeah, I mean the desert, it sounds like it's Crimson Desert. It's got to be like one of the hardest areas in the game, right? I'm assuming it's going to be super late game. So I probably won't have a Velociraptor for that long. That's all right, because then we're going to have a dragon. I wonder what the time scale is. If like you unlock this mount, then you get the next level up, and see how long each one of those lasts.
Number. Then dads with no time will say that number's too big. I am scared of that game. If I give the exact same number, then kids in school with all the time on their hands will say that number's too small.
Mm-hmm.
So if I give any number, I'm wrong.
You lose.
Yeah. I've been consistent, and I will not give a number to this game.
Hey.
This game is massive, though, like massive, and what I like about it is because of what I talked about earlier.
I mean, based on his other interview, right? He said it's 2 times the size of Skyrim. I mean, come on, like 200 hours easy, right? Like that's what we got. I'm assuming the main storyline 20 to 40 hours, and then the rest of it's 200 probably. Yeah, but we'll definitely see that. I hope it's long. Me too. I need a game to last me until Blood of the Dawnwalker or Phantom Blade Zero. When does Phantom Blade Zero launch? Phantom Blade Zero release date September 9th. Oh, they might have to compete with Fable. Like, what if, because we haven't got the release date of Fable yet, do we think that could be a potential? I don't know.
You can choose what you want to do in play sessions depending on how much time you have. And there's something about progression and reward that you feel in even the little things. Last week, I spent 50 hours playing the game. Just
50 hours.
That is factually fact. I sat down and played for 50 hours.
Let's go.
I was focusing on a lot of side content. I was not
fishing.
I was not.
Well,
I was mining. I was upgrading weapons. I was seeing because there is a set difficulty of all enemies in the game. You can grind and beat them by sheer willpower. That's an.
From King Ghost, you want it to survive for a long while. Me too. And I'm curious if they're gonna add any DLC. I highly doubt it. And maybe they've already talked about this in other interviews. But it'd be really cool to see this game be successful. Like, I mean, with how much money they put into the mechanics in this engine, either they're gonna immediately crank out a second and third one. Because I'm assuming usually when you make a massive engine, you're going to need to do a couple games to make your ROI. So we'll either see very similar games or we'll see more iterations on Crimson Desert. So that I have hope in, as long as it does well, which I think based on all the other content creators who've tested it, based on other people I met in Gamescom talking about it, and they also agree that it was a great game, I think it's going to have the jump start. I think it's going to break even, if not explode. So I'm hopeful. But I still have Diablo 4 expansion coming in April. Yeah, I didn't get into Diablo. That's like, I played. It feels like an old game to me, like the top down kind of those kind of games. I played like Gauntlet. That was like one of my favorite games. Or like Baldur's Gate like 1 and 2, Champions of Norath, those kind of games growing up, and that's like it feels like a childhood game to me, and I don't play those anymore. But I understand lots of people like Diablo 4. Just ain't me.
Intended choice, because we never want it never wants to want the player to feel like, oh, you just have to get good. If you invest time, you can beat everything. Or you could just be an incredibly skilled player and you just run right through it. But the game shouldn't prevent progression because you don't understand a mechanic. Like that's kind of the balance there. So that being said, there's a lot that you can do in the game. Open world games is impossible to answer because people don't beeline the crit path in the story. But what I will say is the critical path and the main.
Lol, I'm 47. I played all of them. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. That's good. Man. Like have you played some of the old JRPGs? Like did you ever play like Legend of Dragoon, Suikoden 2, more JRPG stuff?
Campaign is only
those are like my favorite childhood games growing up.
Very small percentage of the overall content of the game. For me, the game really opened up when I beat it. Like that's where it's like, oh my god, I haven't even scratched the surface of this.
What's this? Open world scale and activities
to make a game.
My ex-wife left me for a personal trainer a month ago.
This AI slop, dude. Everyone's using this AI. I love it, but that's just it's poor. Like I build AI tools, and that is just it's trash. It's trash. One. Okay. MMO to single player transition. We already watched that earlier today. The custom engine development, graphics and performance. I don't want to talk about that. Boss mechanics and rewards. Here, let's go through that. I want to listen to that again.
You can share that a bit.
No, you didn't play those? Ah, they're PS1 games. Incredible. Just incredible.
And learn from Black Desert Online that you were able to take forward to Crimson Desert.
I think it goes back to like emergent open worlds, and creating a space that people want to stay in. It's an interesting question. Like what lessons has the team learned from development of an MMO that are going to apply to a single player action adventure game? That's is essentially what you're asking. I do want to
don't do an MMO. Lesson number one.
I mean,
no, I'm just joking.
Ain't that a fact? That's a fact.
BDO is as strong as ever. Like it's actually really. We continue to release content. And I think that's the fascinating thing that other than Black Desert Online players they might not know is Black Desert has released new content every week for the last 10 years. Every single week. And that's how the developers operate. Like they're not one big patch, one big expansion. Granted, again, with context of they built a brand new engine and a game on top of this.
It's this element of choice. What's a choice that you can make and how will that impact outcomes in the game? Like, can you walk me through going on one path versus the other and how that is going to impact your experience as you play through?
Yeah. Again, this is one of the reasons we're not calling this an RPG, because there are a lot of connotations and a lot of thoughts that people have on that term as a loaded term.
He said he's not going to call it an RPG. What?
And player choice is one of them. I am not going to say that players have no choice in this game. That's not what I'm saying. The overall plot is set within this. However, your experience and your choices that you're making are mostly around character progression and play style rather than plot. So, do I want to do this quest? Do I want to invest in this storyline? Do I care about this house? Is it going to change? Is that going to then change the world state in my faction's alliance with this faction? And those things will affect gameplay. But the overall plot of because you did this thing will or will not happen. The overall plot of the game is set. However, all of the choices that you make within gameplay unlock that kind of emergent storytelling and headcanon that makes your experience different than everyone else's that I talked about earlier.
What are some perks that you get for aligning with a specific faction? I assume there's benefits to aligning with
that's
like
a good
a tech
question.
faction, for example.
That's cool.
Yeah, so let me see. A lot of, I mean, it has to do with what their rewards are at the end of the storylines a lot, but also assisting them in unlocking nodes helps reputation, which it then gives you access to more vendors in their region, unlocks additional resource nodes. There is a camp that you're rebuilding for your Greymanes because, again, they lost their entire country. The least we could do is help them build a camp. So, and in order to help rebuild, you need a lot of resources. So you get access to these resource nodes within the map.
That's really cool.
Because you've liberated and aligned with the faction. If you hadn't, then those might be blockaded by enemy factions or otherwise. So one interesting thing is based on your reputation or your
King Ghost. The only thing I wish was different, I want to choose how the game ends with my choice. Yeah, I mean, I think we got spoiled with Baldur's Gate 3, right? There's so many options with so many different paths to play that game that it's... And there's other games that have cool end game states, so... Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. Having like a solid storyline also feels really good. It feels rewarding. It feels like you actually get closure in that specific way. I don't know. But it can go both ways.
Relationship with a certain faction, it changes from, it could be at a war state, it could be at a neutral state, it could be at an alliance state, and those in turn change the overall map state and game state. So because it is a completely open world, that's one of the ways that we're able to slightly guide you in the beginning of the game.
Have I played the game yet? Yeah, I played it at Gamescom. It was like a 50-minute demo. So that's why I'm so confident it's going to pop off, because that was back in whenever Gamescom was last year. I feel like it was in July, but maybe it was later. But it was just great. It was the best game I played at Gamescom.
Is by having a future area that you don't know yet, you haven't been introduced to yet, you are at a war state with them. So if you go into that area, the guards will attack you.
Okay, that makes
Where
sense.
then if you progress the storyline, eventually you'll build a relationship with them and they'll become neutral. So then that opens up that city that you can go into. But you haven't been introduced to them, so there's no formal relationship. So they don't know you're kill on sight. You're an outsider. So that's and I'm not naming the name of the city because the internet's really sensitive to spoilers, but like it's an example of how those relationship and those faction alliances come into play in actual gameplay sense.
You touched on it there, the typical player progression. You start in a war state with one of the factions, then you eventually get them to neutral. What is your progression going to be like just going through the open world, though? Like, what is typical moment-to-moment gameplay going to be, and how have you figured out the downtime you experience in some open world games where...
I will have to finish this a little bit later. I need to hop off for now. Sorry for the brief cut. I didn't realize it was already 54. It's midnight here in the UK. I don't know where you guys are based, but I do have to call it for now. I will answer some last question. King Wolf, how was the combat? Did it feel smooth, and how was the camera? I thought it was really quite smooth. I really struggled learning the combos because when we were thrown in, you had like literally like a 5-minute tutorial because they like just created a quick tutorial just to like get you, and you have like 60 to 70% of everything unlocked. So you were like already able to do these crazy combos, and you have so much stamina, but you don't know how to use it right. So you burn through your stamina really fast, and it's just like, whoa, okay, there's an overwhelming amount of stuff to learn in those first few 5 minutes, and then you go into the battles and stuff. But the difficulty still felt great. I thought it felt very fluid, felt just like when you hit, it connects, and it feels like, okay, I landed it nice. When you block, when you parry, those are pretty smooth. Camera was smooth. I mean, it was just your standard third person. I thought that the distance was solid. I'm curious if you can change the field of view. I might pull it back even a little bit more, or maybe I won't, because you need to know that exact timing, and if you're too far, maybe you can't see that. But in general, I thought it was pretty good, and I'm hoping to play again. So, thanks. Did they say if you get all skills or no? I think you can. It's just a decision on how you decide to unlock your skill path, if that's what you're saying, if your question is. But okay, let's just go back to me for a moment. Just me. Well, what a day. Back on the grind. Back in the content creation. You guys have seen, if you haven't, I made a couple shorts. They're a little bit like brain rot shorts. We're just cranking those out for now, and then I'll probably try and do something that has a little bit more value to it. And then when this game comes out, once I get access, we'll be doing some first impressions reviews, and then tips, tricks, guides, all that stuff. And it'll be coming. It's going to come around so quick. It's only a month away. So super pumped. Huge shout out to everyone who's been in the chat. Thank you so much. I will be streaming again on Sunday. We'll go through any of the other interviews I've missed, anything that might pop up over the weekend, and then we'll be playing Dragon's Dogma 2. Just to play a game that's similar and it feels good. And this will be the waiting room for the next couple weeks. I might play some Black Desert also, and yeah, we'll see. Am I getting Resident Evil 9? It depends. It depends on the shelf life of this game, and yeah, I'm hoping this game can last me for a good while, and then maybe I go into something else. But yeah, we'll see. By the way, what else? What else? Thanks for the stream. Thank you for watching. I'll be setting up my restream tomorrow to then push it to Twitch also, because I'm not streaming to Twitch. This is my first day doing the vertical. I don't know if you were here when I mentioned that, so just playing around with the vertical. Seems to be a decent way to stream. Didn't hurt my CPU too bad, but yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm hopping off. You guys have a great day. Caveman logging off. I'll see you guys on Sunday. Peace.